All right, and welcome everybody to episode 3 of the RF Generation Collectorcast. Just want to start off the show by saying that for those of you that might be listening for the first time, you can find us in a couple different places. Number one, we find our home on rfgeneration.com. You can also find us on YouTube under the just search for Collectorcast. You can find us on Podomatic. It's just podomatic.com/rfgeneration collectorcast. You can also find us on the iTunes podcast directory. So please take a listen and subscribe if you're not already. Joining me is my co-host, Crabmaster.
Hello.
Hey, and I am Duke.togo. Thanks for coming in. How you doing, Crabby?
I'm doing great this week.
Yeah, it's although trying to dodge some storms.
Yeah, lots of rain here, but I found out there's a new collector in town, someone I recognized from Nintendo Age, so I'm excited. We're hoping to get together sometime this week and meet up.
Oh, fantastic. Are you going to try to slide some things out of his house when he's not looking?
No, I was just going to bring my stadium events along with me and make him as jealous as I can.
I don't know. Maybe you could get a nice reproduction like Sir Psycho, and then that way you don't have to worry about something happening to yours.
I'll be gentle. I'll be careful.
I had a good time when I went over and met with Hungry Moose from RF Generation. We went over to his house today and a couple of friends and hung out and played some classic games. And it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
That's awesome.
It's always great to get together with fellow people that share the hobby.
Absolutely.
You know, after the last show, I want to say thanks for all the comments and everything that we received, all the kind words. I think that we did a better job on the last show with the audio. It seemed everybody's pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I was really, really happy to hear the feedback on the audio, so it looks like we're moving in the right direction here.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing was, I guess maybe a request to make it a little louder. So I'll see if I can turn the gain up a little bit. I was just last time maybe trying to not blow people's ears out. I guess I need to go the other way a little bit, but that's good.
So we got a few new members joining the website too. So we just wanted to say hello to you guys, and hope you're enjoying the community so far and feel welcome. Let us know if we can do anything to help you fit in.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to post. Always welcome to see more collectors come onto the site. That's means more good trading partners, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and anybody listening to the podcast, you can feel free to join us in the forums on rfgeneration.com. It's where we get a lot of our material for the show for, kind of our home base. So feel free to drop in and check it out.
All right, so this last month we've just been blown away by not just the amount of scores that have been posted, but the quality of them. I know I have. There's been some really cool titles popping up this month.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if some people are breaking the bank here or what, but I really love the pictures
Yeah.
that everybody's been posting. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely more than I'm used to, so that's awesome.
So Single Banana's out helping you find some games, and what does he come across?
Well, that's just karma at its finest. He found Bubble Bobble 2 manual while grabbing me a junky $1 common game.
Yeah, and didn't he pay $1 for the manual?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
So I'm glad he got some payback for helping me, because he's got a short list of this NES stuff I'm still looking for that he's been hunting down very diligently for me. So I'm really glad it paid off for him, other than me giving him a couple bucks for these cheap games.
Well, hopefully my karma will kick in soon, and maybe I'll find that $5 little Samson or something.
There you go.
I'll start holding my breath right now.
He also got one of my favorite finds of the whole month. Not really find, a gift he got from his wife for Father's Day.
That would be your favorite.
Yeah, that's...
You're a little sicko.
He got the adult-rated 2600 games, a few of them.
Yeah, because nothing spells fun like beat 'em and eat 'em.
Nothing spells Father's Day like Custer's Revenge. Yeah.
I don't know if what kind of message that would be trying to send across if my wife got me those Mystique games. Either you're a sicko or Maybe we should be sickos together.
There you go. Bonding. She just wanted to play bachelor party with him.
You know, that's when it's time to put the controller down. Also, he picked up a copy of Godzilla 2, which
That's a pretty
is,
tricky one to find, yeah.
man, I don't have that one yet.
Oh, really?
It's
I didn't know
one of
that.
the few I don't have. I'm down to 14 licensed titles left, US, and 17 unlicensed.
Godzilla 2 is not one of them. Wow.
I do not have Godzilla 2 yet. So, jealousy. Thy name is Godzilla 2.
All right. So, what are your other favorite finds this month?
Well, I mean, I know Hungry Moose. I was just over his house today. He was kind of doing that gaming thing, and he lives not too far away, and we chit chat from time to time. And he picked up some, I think, some really fantastic stuff. Number one, he got that Bubble Bobble 2 manual from Banana.
Yeah, what did he trade? Contraforce?
Yeah, he traded a Contraforce
Yeah.
for it, which I'm kind of like, wow. But I did get to see the manual today, and it really very good shape. He also had picked up, man, just quite a few odds and ends. He got some Super Famicom games, really nice little Final Fantasy VI, some of the Shin Megami Tensei games.
Can't go wrong with those ones.
No, and then some other import, like some Saturn imports.
Yeah, what did he get? Shining Wisdom was in there, I think. That's
Yeah, and Terra Fantastica. I've never even heard of that one
me neither.
before.
I like the box art on there though. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I saw the game today, and it's very beautiful. We didn't get a chance to kick it in and play it or anything. We were mostly doing NES, but it looked really great.
Right on. Yeah, he grabbed Electroplankton for the DS too. That one's pretty tricky to track down.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, I'm not as. I know that one's a hard one to find, but was it just an early release, a short run? Was it some special mail order thing? What's the deal with that? Do you know?
I think it's just a limited run, but I'm not
I,
positive on that.
I gotcha. I just know that's one to look out for, so a good pickup on that for sure. He also picked up a couple other odds and ends. Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. I got to look at that one today. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of the pricier loose carts for the Game Boy, I think. Top,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it is. And Arc-Rise Fantasia, Tales of Symphonia 2, a Kamiden. I mean, quite a few games that he picked up
yeah.
today.
Lots of role playing too. That's really good.
I told him about a couple of places that I hit, and I think we might be teaming up to do a little game hunting before long.
You gonna be fighting over things in the halls.
Uh,
Depends what
if
you
I see the
find.
good stuff, I just won't tell him until I check out.
You're not worried your hands are gonna grab the cart at the same time, and you're gonna have to tug a war over it.
Maybe I have to put that as a stipulation that since we're going to go on my stomping grounds, that if the $5 little Samson is there, it's mine. Whatever, it's all good fun. So, what else we have? And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this right. In Rainbows, I think is the way that should be said. Picked up some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, man, that big Saga score that he got.
Yeah, I was just like, what?
Yeah, Dragon Force, Shining Force 3, Lunar, and not just one system, like across Genesis, Saturn, Sega CD, like just awesome titles.
Yeah, Shining Force 3. I mean, man, that's not a cheap game. I mean, I've run across it, but it's just, the full price is pretty hefty on that
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
Usually I go in for like 100, $110.
Yeah, and Dragon Force is just barely behind it there too. There.
Yeah, and he got what was that? He got like a RAM backup cart for the Saturn that somebody put like a custom label on, like a
I,
what was
I
that?
don't think that was a custom label. Shadow mentioned that the Dragon Forces came packed in with a sticker that you could stick on your RAM card, so it would be Dragon Force themed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got the RAM card for it, which is awesome because you can save like 2 games on your Saturn without it.
Yeah, yeah, and hope the battery doesn't die on you in the process.
Yeah, well, that's easy enough to change though.
Yeah, thankfully, as opposed to some of the other systems, yeah, pretty easy.
Yeah,
Picked some other stuff up at a flea market.
yeah, some nice fully boxed TurboGrafx 16 games. You don't see those too often.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like, where are these things hiding? I'm in the wrong place.
Don't even.
Hey, well, I mean, yeah, I know you're in the boonies. Don't get me wrong. He found a complete Splatterhouse 3, right?
Yeah, Breath of Fire 1 and 2, Super Nintendo, both boxed up. a nice little set of classic NES games like Battletoads, Mario 2, Ninja Turtles. Like, it's
Man,
a great month.
yeah, wonderful pickups. I mean, congratulations. That's some really good stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what about Sir Psycho's little post there?
Oh,
Being the stadium events owner, what do you think about that?
I'm not sure how I feel about that reproduction because it looks. I haven't examined it too closely, but it looks very identical. Like I'm under the impression that a lot of reproduction makers like to put a little variation in there so that you can tell.
Certainly, certainly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something we should absolutely get into on a future podcast when we've got some time to devote to it.
Yeah, certainly. So that does bring up an interesting topic, and I definitely want to get back to that one in the future.
Absolutely.
I want to say for a minute, Shadow, he came up with what are some near and dear to my heart. It was complete in box Phantasy Star 3 and 4
Those
for the
things those
Genesis.
things looked mint too from those pictures.
Yeah, really beautiful. I mean, 3, that's not very hard to do, but, 4 came in the cardboard box, and it was an expensive cart when it came out. Things like $90 when it was released. So to find one in condition like that, that's really pretty cool.
Yeah, I like those the cardboard Genesis boxes.
Yeah, you would.
So we had a couple new systems picked up too from people. Zagnorch grabbed himself a complete in box NES control deck and was delightfully surprised to find Dr. Mario inside.
Yeah, the Norch is to find out. Well, how do I not find these? I got Nintendos that come out of my ear, but I don't ever find any in the box.
No, that's one thing I don't have a lot of trouble finding up here. I've gone through half a dozen of those.
Oh, you can just send me some. That's fine.
Oh, you can have the next one. Who else
So congratulations, Zaggy. That was a good pickup.
Yeah, and Slowman picked himself up a complete in box Super Nintendo Super Set.
Always a wonderful system to have. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, box consoles always look awesome in the game room.
Yeah, I'm not a huge cardboard guy, as we've discussed in the past, but I really do like console boxes.
Yeah, I wish I had enough room to display all of mine. I've got most of them out, but like the Neo Geo AES box is just too big. I have nowhere to put it.
Yeah, mine are all piled in the closet right now. So
Yeah.
what's the lesson, folks? Kids take over your gaming space. Unless you're crabby. But his wife will make him have another at some point, and then he won't have a room either.
Yeah, it's my last room, so if we have another one, I might lose it.
Dun dun dun. Well, we also had old Bill
Oh
came
man,
up with some great stuff.
we gotta cut his list way down just because he had so much and lots of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because if we didn't, I mean, this would basically be the Wild Bill show, I think,
Yeah.
this month. Very amazing. I think he was just like had cash flowing out of his somewhere. But he had like that 32X rental case,
Yeah,
looked like from Blockbuster or
I've never
something.
seen one of those. I've got an N64 one that looks the same way, yeah, but I've never seen a 32X one.
I'm pretty sure that was when they were rented out at Blockbuster, because I remember seeing those when they would rent those things out. There was like a Virtual Boy, and they had like N64 and 32X, and
Yeah, it's the exact same style as mine and my N64 one, which came from Blockbuster, and I've seen the Virtual Boy ones you're talking about.
yeah, I think they were all pretty much the same case. They just slapped a different sticker on it, had a different foam insert.
Yeah,
So that was really pretty cool to find that one.
absolutely. And he snagged that little Ninja Brothers complete in box off of eBay for low price. Like that's a really hard one for people to find. It's one of the last ones most people get, and
Yeah, well, it was one of the latter ones for me to grab for sure. And to get it in box at a good price is really fantastic.
yeah, absolutely.
Also picked up a few Super Nintendo games, huh?
Yeah, it's some really good ones too. Nothing really rare, but you got like Super Mario RPG, Zelda Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country 2, Mario Kart, like awesome games all around.
Hey, Mario RPG is not a cheap cart to find. I mean, I still don't have that one in my library just because I'll wait to find a well-priced copy. So,
It's a good game
congrats.
too. I love that one.
Yeah, very good.
One of my other favorite finds, other than the Bananas Father's Day gift, there was Nine-Tailed Demon Fox grabbed my second favorite find of the month here. His Worlds of Power Mega Man 2 paperback. Those are some some cool little books that I haven't seen since I was a kid, so it was really cool to see one pop up in the thread there.
Yeah, I hadn't seen one of those things in forever either, and I'd almost kind of really forgot that they were even around.
Yeah, me too. And this kind of interests me in grabbing a couple just to check them out again because it's, like I said, it's been like almost 2 decades probably since I've seen one.
I've been getting the personal itch to try to start tracking down some Nintendo Fun Club newsletter things to kind of go back to my heyday. So
Yeah.
I can understand the fun with picking up old things like that. That's great. I have some old vintage kind of games like those, How to Win at Nintendo
Yeah,
books and
I've got
whatnot. Those are great.
my little paper collection here too.
Jeff Roven, the
Oh
awesome
yeah,
writer
got
of
about
those books.
half of his yet.
I think one of the days we have to track down Jeff Roven and do an interview. If he's still around doing something.
Oh God.
And it looks like last but not least, we wanted to mention the Gru got some pretty cool GameCube games.
Yeah, Chibi Robo is not hard to find, but awesome game. Pikmin 2 is one of the pricier titles on the system, and you picked it up for $1.
Yeah, which is nutty.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, I've not seen a copy for under 40.
No, it's not easy to come by for cheap.
No.
And the Mario DDR he picked up, I don't think he got the mat with it, but it's still one of the harder to find games on the GameCube just because it didn't sell overly well.
It's Mario and DDR. I mean, if you like that sort of stuff, it's a pretty awesome mix.
Absolutely. So my pickups were fairly slow this month again. I grabbed a box for my Xbox console, just an empty one, but it was cheap.
Oh yeah, I would imagine. Usually Xbox is, but I see that some Xbox games are starting to tick up a little bit more in price. So I wonder if it's kind of on the verge of becoming a little more collectible.
Maybe. They usually go through a slump before they go up.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I've been trying to catch some PS2 stuff before it makes the turn.
Yeah. Yeah, so I grabbed that box, and I've got a few deals on the go and things in the mail, but other than that, that's all I actually added to the collection this month.
Yeah, but I think somebody will be shipping you a package here soon with some things.
Yeah, multiple somebodies. I should have a little more exciting stuff to talk about next week or next month.
I got a few odds and ends this month myself. Got some of some Color Dreams games, so picked some of those up. King Neptune's Adventure, which
Awesome.
that's a real treat to play. Let me tell you that. I think what's supposed to be called Taggin Dragon, but I think really it's spelled Tagen Dragon. It's a bunch of games, which is it's Sachin. The cover looks really cool. Yeah, that's about it. Challenge of the Dragon, which also kind of looks like a cool concept.
I like the cover on that one, yeah.
Yeah, and Menace Beach, which is kind of really. I didn't get much past the intro, but the intro is kind of silly. Like your girlfriend's like chained up, and she's like, "You better come and get me, or else," sort of thing. And then she looks like kind of like, "Oh, she's kind of an attractive gal that's chained up," which is kind of weird. And then, when it shows the guy, he's like this, super deformed, giant-headed kid. It's kind of odd. I picked up a few other odds and ends, some N64 games, nothing too terribly exciting, but I'd never seen Rocket Robot on the Move before, so have you played that one?
I haven't, no. That's one of those Blockbuster rental exclusives, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the box and manual are one of the hardest to find on the system.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'd never seen the game, I just picked it up because it looked interesting.
It's supposed to be a lot of fun. I really want to grab one to play.
A couple of just pretty common stuff, but I had been looking for a copy of Golden Sun on GBA, so I was glad to come across that.
Nice.
Well, besides that, just really kind of just odds and ends, I think, this month. Nothing too terribly exciting.
No Bubble Bobble 2s this month?
No, I was talking about some of those tough to getties. That's we're going to start slowing down a little bit, but there'll always be a little something exciting around the corner.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thanks everybody for posting your stuff. We love to see that, especially the pictures of what you guys find. So, make sure you come over to RF Generation if you're not already a member. Sign up, post your finds while you're out there on the hunt, hitting your yard sales or pawn shops or whatever it is, and we'll be happy to mention some cool stuff on the show.
So, last podcast, we talked about our favorite online joints to pick up new games. And then after the fact, we realized we missed a few of our favorites. So, we just wanted to take a moment to highlight 3 extra places that we didn't think to talk about last week. My favorite in particular that I feel really stupid for forgetting was gametz.com. And it's a website where you can load in all the games you have available for trade and then match your list to other people's lists of what they have available and what they want. And you can set up trades to do online. And I've used it half a dozen times, and it's been awesome. They've got a really cool feedback system, really specific information on the games, what you want with it, if you need the manual, if you want the box, what kind of condition you want each different piece in. It's a really cool website.
Yeah, and I'm surprised I've never heard of this site before. So I mean, really, I'm glad to hear about that, and really want to check it out.
Yeah, and like some people are willing to sell, so you don't always have to trade. You can make them offers, but it's been a really cool site to use.
Very good. A couple of places that I wanted to mention were like I can't believe I forgot about. One of them, GameFly. I mean,
Seems
GameFly's
obvious, yeah.
great. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of it. I've gotten quite a few games from GameFly. Um, and the great thing about GameFly, when you get their games used, I mean, obviously they rent the discs out and whatnot, but they take the time to resurface them, of course. So they come in, they look very clean. But the boxes and the manual and everything never leave. So all they do is just slit those things open, get the game out. So when they send to you, they're putting it right back in that brand new case. It's never been touched. Those codes haven't been used if it's got some DLC codes or whatnot. And you get it, and it's practically new.
So
It's
they don't even stick a barcode or serial number for their own inventories on it or anything like that?
No, you get, I mean, a pristine looking game. They resurface it. It's clean. There's nothing on the box. It's, in fact, like the Xbox 360s, you have like the little security like sticker over like to open it.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't even remove it. They just like slit it with a razor blade. It's still there. So I mean, very good. I really like it.
Awesome.
Another one I can't believe that we forgot was CAG. I mean, cheapassgamer.com. I'm sure all of you out there probably are familiar with it, and if not, you definitely should familiarize yourself with it.
Yeah, like I know I've used them for promo codes and stuff like that a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I keep my eye on there. They really highlight, of course, some great deals, and they also have like sale trade threads and a trade tool for the users. They have these great sales on there. The low balls. Have you heard about those?
I have, yeah.
You know, the low balls are just that. It's they'll set it up. It starts at a certain time, ends at a certain time, and obviously, your objective is to get the thing for the lowest price. So it's just like it's an open bidding. Everybody just kind of puts in what they want for stuff, and you can usually find some pretty cool stuff.
Awesome. Any other places you wanted to mention, or?
I've had a few people ask me about Hastings. I don't know if I really spent much time talking about last time, but just people kind of saying like, oh, what kind of quality of stuff do you get? Because I keep an eye on it. And gohastings.com. They sell used games. It's a retail place, but they do online sales. They don't guarantee that you're going to get everything complete, but I'll be honest, out of everything I've bought from them, I've never gotten anything that wasn't complete. So they have little sales and specials. If you sign up for their email newsletter, you'll get discount codes. And from time to time, you can find some pretty good deals if you wait around for their promo code and look in their used stuff. I've always been really happy with it.
Very cool.
I'm sure there's more that we mentioned, folks, and we could probably do a whole nother show on what we didn't say. All right, so that wraps up talking about last show's topic. What do we got in store for this show's main topic, Krabby?
Well, last show was obviously our favorite online places to pick up games, so we thought we'd go with the obvious this week and move into our favorite local places to pick up games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's great places to go, and I don't know if you're like me. Do you have like your own little circuit of places that you go?
I do, yeah, and luckily, like half of mine are all in one block, so it's awesome.
Wow, what a deal! So you just walk the block and you're done?
Yeah, I parked the car and I've got about 2 blocks to walk, and I get to hit about 7 stores in there, so it's great.
That is ridiculous. So there you go, folks. Move to the frozen north.
Well, once you hear the options, you might change your mind, but it's nice for up here.
So let's talk first about the most obvious choice, which are just obviously used game or retro game stores. You have a lot of those in your area?
We have none in my area.
Oh
Not
no.
one. Nope. So whenever I go on vacation, I make sure to stop into whatever I can find locally because even if I don't buy anything, I just love hanging out in them and looking around.
So have you any particular chains or anything that you've been to that you liked or
I've been to some trading games that were okay, and I've been to some that weren't. I've been to a game Lobster that was very interesting.
Game Lobster?
Yeah,
That's definitely unique.
yeah, it was down in Seattle. They had a lot of cool stock, but I didn't end up buying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really been to a whole lot of chains other than those two, mostly
Okay.
local ones.
Well, out where I'm at, there are a couple that I stop by pretty regularly. But there's one of them I'm guessing that you have that you forgot to mention.
Are we talking about EB Games, GameStop?
We are.
Okay, I thought we were just talking about retro stores. Why I didn't mention those guys, and we do actually have two EB Games in town.
Yeah, and for folks in the States, EB Games is GameStop. It's all the same company. As a matter of fact, the stores around me used to be Electronics Boutique slash then EB Games and then GameStop bought them up. So
Yeah, when we just went on vacation this year, and I went to several GameStops while we were down south, and they were identical layouts and same setups, like to the T.
let's be honest, GameStop is one of those places that some people love to hate.
I think a lot of it might be unjustified. They do some annoying things, but I still shop there.
And I think the biggest sin that I think most collectors would say they commit is their new games aren't really new games. They're not sealed anymore.
Yeah, that drives me nuts as a collector. And
Yeah.
I've mentioned that to the guy at the counter, and he doesn't quite know why I'm upset. I don't know if I'm not getting my point across well, or if he just doesn't care. But it's very annoying.
I don't get that concept. I mean, if he went into the grocery store and he wanted like some bacon and here's one that's already opened up and I gave it to him, he wouldn't want that. He would say, "That's not. I want the sealed one." But I was like, "Well, it's the same thing. What's the problem?" I mean, nobody would do that, right?
Not in any other business that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, would if you came to buy a loaf of bread and I just kind of threw the bread out onto something, was like, oh, okay, well, here's the bread.
Even any other electronics, like you go to buy a new camera or a new laptop or anything, like they'll discount it if it's been opened.
Yeah, they call that refurbished.
Yeah.
I'm there. I will not usually patronize GameStop for new games because of that. I just won't do it. And it's not like they're selling brand new games for cheap, deep discounts, so I'll go elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think the only thing I bought new from there in the last year was a Catherine special edition. But with the pre-orders, they don't open them in advance, so I didn't have to worry about that.
Well, I guess that's good news anyway.
Yeah, I do, however, spend a decent amount of money there on their used stuff, especially when they have sales.
Yeah, I do. I don't frequent them very much. I guess there's other retailers that I would rather support.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of options up here, so I usually go check them out, and I'll leave with a $5 to $10 game most times.
I don't know if we really need to flog the GameStop horse because plenty of people are already doing that. Um,
Agreed.
I know a couple other used retro shops. Like around me, there's a couple of them. One of them is Game Exchange, and Game Exchange is a chain that it's kind of Midwestern South kind of thing. I think it's like a franchise that you can get. Game Exchange, I've been pretty happy. I mean, their prices seem to be pretty reasonable. Their stock is fairly good, and they do like DVD sales too, so which is fine. It works. I find a few things from time to time there. Every once in a while, they're not always as good on their prices as they should be. I picked up a copy of Garden Heroes on Saturn Complete for $8 from them once,
Wow.
which I kind of had to laugh because sitting right next to it was a copy of Street Fighter Alpha for Saturn that they had marked at $25. They've gotten a little better, but sometimes you can still find some odds and ends in there but they've been really great to work with me. I've gone in there, I've bought some peripherals and odds and ends, and they are really good about what I consider to be a cardinal sin with used games, and that is the sticker placement.
Oh God, yes.
Ah, here, if any of you ever want to start a used gaming business, or if any of you own a used gaming business, please, 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 please listen. If you're looking at a cartridge, there is a lot of real estate there that has nothing on it. That's a great place to put a sticker. I'm okay with that. If you ever put a price sticker on an existing sticker, a label, let's be honest,
Uh,
there's no reason to do that.
yeah, I don't get it either. Like you said, there's a lot of room that won't wreck it when you rip it off. That you can slap it on.
I can't tell you how many times I will grab an NES cart at some used game places. I'll flip it over and look at the back label, which you know the size of an NES cart. There's the little warning label that's probably what, maybe 20% of the entire size?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and where is the sticker always stuck?
Right on that 20%.
Right on that spot. I'm like, did you notice the giant open plastic space right here with nothing? Or they'll stick it like on the front label or something.
Yep. Yeah, rental stores do that all the time. Oh, it drove me nuts.
And I can kind of understand. I mean, their job, they're not resellers. But these people are getting games in, and they're sticking their own stickers on that stuff. And every time I look at them, I go, really? And I tell the people that work there, I will sit and hold the cart up and go, do you see how much space there is on this cart?
They must love
Do
you.
you, yeah, do you see exactly where you put the sticker? Yeah, they don't like me when I do that, but just really, you know, this can't be rocket science. Just work with me, people. That's it. And why do some used game stores have to use like the gummiest, stickiest price stickers known to man?
Oh, they're probably cheap. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I used to work at a bookstore when I was younger. The kinds of stickers that you would put like on books, like for discount prices and stuff, they're made a certain way where they will peel off very easily without doing any damage whatsoever. I cannot seem to think that any used game place ever uses price stickers like that. They're always this gummy, nasty, can't remove it for the life unless you 6 pounds of Goo Gone or something on these things. Is it just me?
No, it's not just you. Like I said, I don't have retro stores up here, so I don't have the problem as much as you. Most places I buy from have no stickers on them, which is very nice.
And have you ever seen this one? The GameStop. Have you ever seen where they will take a used modern disc game that's in like a DVD cover, and they will put the price stickers on the insert
Yep. They.
and not on the outside plastic?
I do have to give them props though for their new stickers now, at least up here. They put them
Yeah?
on the outside on the plastic, and they just peel right off. No Goo Gone or anything. Like 2 seconds, you're done. Your game looks brand new again.
Okay, I've not seen those here.
That's changed in maybe the last 4 to 6 months up here. So once in a while you'll see that new nice sticker over their old ugly one that you'll have to Goo Gone off. But they're very nice to peel off now.
Yeah, but sometimes they have that one where they've taken the time to remove the insert,
Yeah, I've seen
put the
those.
sticker on the insert, and then put it back. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, that drives me really crazy. And we're hitting one of my pet peeves. So, let's move back to the topic, I guess. So,
Okay, retro game stores. Anything else you want to say before we bounce to another area?
there's just a couple other in my area that are good, and I know some of them are like chains. So, The Exchange is another one that I go to sometimes, and they do like records and movies and albums, and they also do games, and they're kind of in the Midwest, Northeast kind of area, and they've been really cool. That's where I got my little Wobble too, and they'll kind of help you out trying
Yeah,
to
didn't
locate
they
things.
like literally call you at your home to tell you that one was in?
Absolutely, yeah, they did. They called me up like, "Hey, it's here, and can you come get it?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, absolutely."
That's pretty good service. Yeah, I've got a couple places up here that will call me, so it's very handy.
Yeah, it was really great. Now we used to have McVans here. Some of you may have heard that they've recently gone out of business, but they were an Indiana-based used game place. Been around for probably like 20 years or more, And so it's kind of a shame to see them go away. I had a friend that used to work at the Indianapolis store. But yeah, I bought a lot of stuff from there. It's kind of a shame to see him go. I'm just guessing they couldn't keep up with the GameStops.
Unfortunately, that was probably a good part of it.
One other last place I'll mention that I really love, if you have any of these in your area, check them out, and that's Disc Replay. Disc Replay is another used game shop, but they also, of course, do DVDs and CDs. They'll do all the retro stuff, so NES, any kind of carts, lots of like GameCube, PlayStation 2, all the way up through the modern stuff. For some things, their prices aren't bad, and they have like every day is a mix and match, so it's a buy five get one free on anything in the store.
Wow,
So that's really great. Sometimes you can find some titles that aren't real cheap or something, and you can kind of pile those together and get a good deal.
that's a really cool deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and they usually have a pretty good selection there. And I know, like in Indianapolis, there are three stores, so I'll hit those whenever I'm close to one of them, and I'm usually finding good stuff. That's a great chain. I know they're elsewhere in the country, so if you got a disc replay close to you, I would highly recommend checking them out regularly. Other than that, I think that really wraps it up for kind of the retro stores that I hit. I'm sure everybody probably has their own local stores, so in the show thread, feel free to chime in and tell us, what your favorite local retro store is, or what's a great place around your area. I mean, other folks that are there or are visiting, they like to see that stuff.
And in addition to that, I know you've mentioned this to me before, but I don't know if we've said it on the show, that you mentioned through Game Gavel, they've got a place where you can list your favorite stores to find them. What was that called again?
Yeah, that's gamerspots.com, just all together, gamerspots. So GAMERSPOTS.com. I'll put it in the show notes. Yeah, it's just a site where people can go and just pin information about retro game shops, also like flea markets, swap meets, arcades. It's just open. It's free for everybody to use. You just sign up a profile. You go put your stuff in. It's run by Mike Kennedy, who also runs the Game Gavel Network.
Sounds
It's a
awesome,
cool
yeah.
site. Yeah. Oh, and how could I forget Half Price Books?
Right, yeah, I've heard that name thrown around a lot over the years, but I've never actually seen one myself.
Half Price Books is exactly what you would think it is. It's a used a used bookstore. It is a used game store, though, really. They do books, they do CDs, they do comics, but they also do software and games. Sometimes you can find pretty cool stuff. I've bought several NES games there, usually for like a couple bucks. But they have even more modern stuff. They'll have video game like guides and books. I bought some of those. I even heard about somebody one time that hit one of those half price books and like found a bunch of Neo Geo cards.
Yeah, wow.
So I mean, they'll take anything in. So it's always kind of like a potluck to find out what they've got. So yeah, I would recommend half price books if you can check them out. I think they do some online sales too, but I don't know if that's the way to go. I'd say probably going to the brick and mortar is probably better.
Most likely, yeah. So we mentioned a few places that I don't have in town, but what we do have quite a lot of is pawn shops, thrift shops, charity shops, consignment shops, and they're slightly different, but they're all very similar. You can take your unwanted stuff to make some money. In the case of the charity shops, you don't make money; you just drop it off. But the rest of them, they give you a few bucks back for your stuff. That's where I get a majority of my games in town here.
Locally, I know in a lot of places in the U.S., Goodwill and the Salvation Army are kind of the charity
Yep.
kind of places. I don't know of consignment shops in my area that kind of do that, but definitely pawn shops. Man, pawn shops are great.
Oh yeah. Pawn shops are awesome. Actually, the consignment shops in town here I like more than the pawn shops just because of the owners. They happen to take better care of the stuff than the pawn shops do.
Yeah, so tell me kind of like what the consignment shops are like.
So you can take your games in and leave them with the gentleman there and tell him what you want for them. And he will, if he can make a profit, he will take your item, sell it. Just say you want $10 for your game. He'll try and sell it for 15, so he makes some money too. And then next time you go in, he'll either let you take $10 worth of merchandise from the store, or he'll give you cash out if you want.
Really?
Yeah,
That's kind of cool. So, kind of like the local version of like an eBay seller or something?
kinda. Yeah, yeah. It's really cool. A couple little places in town do that. I don't know what the difference is from owning a pawn license or not, because I know you need to get registered to do a legal pawn shop. So I think the consignment shop's a way around that licensing.
Hmm. Yeah, see, like for consignment around here, all I usually see is like clothing consignment.
Right. No, both of the places in here don't deal in clothing at all. It's all electronics. What the one does like old sports cards and stuff, and the other one does some like jewelry and things like that. But it's mostly electronics in both of them.
That's interesting. I'd really like to see something like that. I mean, I'd be curious if anybody else has stuff like that in their area. Maybe post in the thread. I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, I think it might have to do with the type of economy we've got up here with a lot of mills and mining and rural area. It just seems pawn shops are really popular in that type of community.
Yeah. So, do you frequent pawn shops locally pretty often?
Yeah, like I said, I got that strip of 7 stores I go down.
Yep.
4 of the 7 are pawn shops.
Oh, really? Wow, all together like that?
Yeah, there's literally 2 of them next to each other, and then across the street, there's 2 of them next to each other again.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's like a lot of call for pawn shops.
yeah, and that's only a small portion of them that we have in town here.
You're kidding?
No, we've got like we. I think the population's around 80,000. We've
Uh-huh.
probably got 15 or 16 pawn shops in town.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think the town I live close to is bigger than that, and there's like two pawn shops in the whole town.
Yeah, like I said, the economy here it kind of comes in waves. People
Yeah.
work like crazy when it's cold, and then in spring there's this breakup around the oil fields, so they don't work as much. So all these people that been getting paid, they buy nice toys for themselves, and then they're broke in the spring, so they pawn them off to pay rent until they can go back to work in the fall.
Very interesting. So
Yeah.
that provides for a good opportunity then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Springtime's a great time to clean up on pricey items.
Yeah. So what I tend to find in pawn shops, which is what I love about them, and I don't know if it's the same in your area, is I either find the pawn shop that just puts just ridiculously stupid prices on everything, and then there's the kind of pawn shop that's like, we don't want to screw with it, we just do flat pricing.
We've got both here, yeah.
Do you see anything else in the middle? I mean, that's generally what I run into.
There's one guy here out of all the shops that he tries to price everything individually. Like he doesn't put
Yeah.
stickers on them. You come up and ask him how much do you want for this, and he'll tell you. But he's really not aware of prices. Like he'll say, think something if it has more discs, that means it's
Uh-huh.
worth more. So if I bring Resident Evil 4 up to him, it's got 2 discs for the GameCube. That's a $20 game to him. But if I bring up Dragon Warrior 4, that's a $5 game because it's only one cartridge.
Fantastic.
So it's hit or miss, like because you want that Resident Evil, but not for $20, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not. But I'll take Dragon Warrior 4 for 5
Yeah,
any day.
yeah. And there's like another place in town where they've had a Mario Duck Hunt for $20 for who knows how
I
long.
love seeing
Yeah,
that.
but then they'll sell you Chrono Trigger for $4.
Yeah, they just when the places that think anything with Mario's name on it is gold somehow.
Yeah,
Um,
but most places in town do the flat pricing, like you said. They'll do like $10 for disc-based games and 5 for most cartridge games, unless they're old like Atari, Coleco. They'll do a couple bucks for.
yeah, I've got there's I guess I'm wrong. There's three pawn shops, but just two major ones. There's one that I go to that is the ridiculous one where, they're sitting on like a bunch of games because like they've got a beat up Pitfall Atari 2600 cart and they want like $10 for it. Because well, it's old,
Yeah.
so old must equal valuable somehow. And then the other one I go to is the stuff I buy from all the time because they do the flat pricing and any cartridge is $5, no matter what the system is. Where you're talking Game Boy, NES, Sega, doesn't matter. It's $5. I go in there enough where they've kind of gotten to know me, and I guess they like me coming in. So here lately they've been giving me 5 for 20, mix and match on carts.
Yeah, I found that too. Most of the shop owners down that strip recognize me from years of going in there now, so they'll do the same thing. They'll price things down for me because they know I buy a lot over the years.
Yeah, and obviously that keeps them happy. They're flipping inventory. They don't want to hold on to the stuff.
I've even gotten to the relationship with a few of them where if they get items that they know they can't move quickly, they'll sell
Uh-huh.
them to me for dirt cheap. So
Wonderful.
anything comes in for like Sega Saturn, it's mine. TurboGrafx, it's mine. 3DO, it's mine. Just because they've had them sit there for months, nobody wants them up here apparently. So
That's a really good deal.
yeah.
Yeah, mine. This pawn shop I go to is they have a lot of hardware because they seem to price hardware high.
Hmm.
So I mean, like they've got like a boxed N64 and like Super Nintendos and stuff. And I think here at some point in time when I get a little more comfortable with them, I'll probably tell them like, hey, I'm not trying to get in your business, but I think you probably sell more of these if you price them down just a little. I mean, their game stuff is really great. I mean, like their disc-based games, GameCube and like PS1 stuff is like around like $7 a game.
It's not bad.
No, and then when you go like PS2, or I think they're like I don't know, 7, $8, and then like all the modern generation stuff is like 15.
Most places in town here actually do modern stuff for 10. There's a couple that do them for 15 though. So I've got some really good new games for really cheap.
Yeah, there's like that one place I almost kind of forgot about because it's so tiny and it's just opened up. They do that $10 for newer stuff, but they're so small they don't have like a big selection. So
Right.
it's usually like sports.
Now, do you ever go into places like that don't seem like they have games in them to check them out, like the thrift shops or like a hospice center, places like that?
The only thing I go into sometimes are like they're kind of like thrifts, but they're just kind of like junk shops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll go into those and browse, and I just try to get to know the owners a little bit and just let them know, like, hey, if you guys get some game stuff, let me know. You know,
Right.
um, but that's all I can really kind of think of. Hospice, I would never. I don't even know if we have anything like that. What do you mean?
It's like a thrift store set up to fund a hospice house.
No,
Yeah,
huh? I
so
don't think we have anything
people
like that.
donate their stuff to this hospice place, and anything they make money wise just goes straight into the hospice care.
Huh? No, I don't. I mean, we've got like a lot of like nursing homes and those kind of things, but
Yep.
nothing like that that I see.
No, oh, they're like 95% of the time they don't even have game stuff. But
Uh-huh.
when they do, they don't know what to do with it, so it goes for really cheap. So it pays to go often so that when it does show up, you get it.
Interesting. I would definitely be interested in something like that. I mean, the kind of oddball places I go into, it's just really kind of like crazy hit and miss. You know what I mean? It's sometimes I just don't spend a lot of time going into them because,
Yeah, the same way. Like I say, I go into a couple of them because they're down my strip there.
uh-huh.
I almost never get anything there, but I'm friendly with the staff, and then when they do show up, I get things like Tales of Destiny on the PlayStation 1 for like $1. So
Whoa, fantastic.
yeah, so you can't complain when things do show up because they just want to get them out. They want to make their money quick.
Yeah, and one thing I've thought about doing, and I might actually do here at some point in time, is I've thought about just printing up some cheap business cards
Hmm.
with just my contact info and then giving them out like, hey, if you get some of this stuff in and you just let me know, just give me a call.
Right on. There's a few pawn shops in town. I've given them a small list of games and just said if they have anything they think I'd be interested in to give me a call. And I've got a few phone calls over the years.
Yeah, I think I might try to do something like that because, like you said, sometimes these places that don't deal with it much, yeah, it's not their cup of tea and
Yeah.
they don't want to fool with it.
And they don't seem like the type of places that are going to eBay the prices to find them out. They just want to move these items as quick and easily as possible.
Oh, sure, yeah, like a lot of times I'll see that they've got like mostly like knickknacks and records and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and then maybe they got a couple things stashed over to the side, and yeah, usually when you ask about, it, they're like, I don't know, maybe we got something over here, and yeah, what about this? You know. But yeah, it's interesting. That would be pretty cool. I would like to find things like that if they were in my area.
Yeah, it's a lot more work, but they eventually pay off.
Local businesses to me is all about relationships and getting to know the staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like I've got that relationship where they phone my house now.
Yeah, I mean, I know the game exchange here in town. The guys know me by name, so I'll go in and say hi from time to time. And even if I'm not particularly on the hunt to buy something, I'll just stop in. Hey, you guys have anything cool or neat that came in? And they'll like, oh yeah, come check this out. Or
They've probably got a poster under the counter with your picture on it saying, "Don't sell anything to this guy. He yells at us about the stickers."
no, that store is good. There's another one that I'm thinking of that is not. The only thing that gets me is that like when I talk to guys, there's one guy that works there that I guess he's a collector too, so he scarfs stuff up. So I would just tell the other guys, I'm like, we just gotta hurry up and fire that guy.
See, I don't have a lot of competition up here, which is really nice. So I don't have that problem with a lot of people scooping things up.
Yeah, no, there is some serious competition in my area, and there is one like super major video game eBay seller in the town that I live close to. So they have a team of people that do their running and hunting and
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
Yeah, it makes it tough. Um, and I think some of that will probably dry up because there's only so much you can mine out of the community,
Yeah.
and then you have to kind of move on. I'm trying to think of anything else that I have that's like that. I mean, I know I went to one pawn shop one time, and I'm going to be honest, it was in kind of a rough part of town, but I'd never been there before, and it was in Indianapolis. And I was with a buddy, and we were stopping to get something to eat, and we go in. It's a pawn shop, but this is like in a rough part of town, so this pawn shop is hopping. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of business going
Yeah.
on. It's like really loud. People are testing out these speakers, and it's pretty kind of crazy. We go in, and I don't normally ever care too much, but they had like a bunch of games that were just disc only, just in cases. But this place had these huge racks. I go in, and my buddy said, "I'm like, just go up there and ask her, just how much for the loose games." And she goes up there, and he goes back, and like, they're $1. They're like 360 games and stuff.
Wow.
And I'm like, do what? It's like, yeah, there's $1. So we just start just stacking up games. I mean, each of us probably bought like 25, 30 games a piece. And we just these huge stacks. And we go up to the counter. The lady comes up and starts like ringing us up. And she starts charging like $10 for these things. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, that lady over there told us these are $1. And she looks over and goes, "Did you tell them that?" She goes, "Yeah." And I guess she was new or something.
Oh,
And she goes, "No, no, no. Like the old, like PlayStation 1 stuff, those are like $1. The newer, like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and all, though, those are like 10 if they're loose." And she goes, "Well, she already told you that, so I'll sell these to you now."
nice.
So yeah, we just got like these huge stacks, which is really pretty. It was kind of fun.
You know what's one other place that just popped into my mind that's worth checking out sometimes is antique shops.
Yeah, I've been because some people are starting to think of like NES and Atari as
Yeah,
antique.
that's why I went into one was because I saw an Atari in the window, and I ended up leaving with a bunch of N64 cards.
Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff sneak in. I mean, my mother likes to go kind of antiquing,
Yeah.
and I don't care a whole lot for that sort of stuff. But my mom, she's she can't see out of one eye, so she likes for like longer trips. For like I'll drive her,
Yeah.
like Mother's Day present or something, or I'll take her out to the place. And yeah, I'm spreading more and more when I stop in these places that, yeah, I'll start seeing some more classic games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is always cool. That's like, thank goodness there's something interesting here for me. It's like if I have to look at one more, old cabinet or something, it's too much for me, but it's a good side benefit sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we go down south to visit my grandma, and she just lives in a little retirement town, so there's nothing to do there, but there's tons of antique shops. So last time we were there, I ended up with a few games, surprisingly.
Never a bad way to spend your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for work, I've got to go to a conference later on in the year. It's going to be down in Tennessee. I'm hoping maybe that people can point me to some good places to stop at while I'm down there and just do some hunting in that area. in the evenings.
Yeah, it's fun to hunt in new places, unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, so maybe get something cool. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, what are some other places that you go to? Some brick and mortar.
Well, they're all shutting down now, but video rental stores used to be quite a few of them up here. But now, our last one that dealt with video games just closed down. So I was able to grab a few things when they're cleaning out their stock for cheap, though.
Yeah, definitely a dying breed.
Yeah,
We've only got one chain left in town, and they've got a couple locations, and they do still a pretty good job of when their games are used, they'll mark them for a pretty decent cheap price and get them out the door.
we just had our last chain close down, and then two independent ones open up right after.
Well, very good. I mean, it should. The old mom and pop places were always the best
Yeah.
anyway.
The only problem here is the mom and pop ones. Neither of them do video games. They only do movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe you should say, "Hey, what?"
I have. One of them's really close to my house, so I bug him, but he doesn't. I don't even think he has space to add any games in there. It's a small little area.
I gotcha. Yeah, when I was young, all the video stores were local owners. Mom and pop
Yep,
places.
yep.
They were great. Because it was always you're talking to the owner every time and great stuff. And then the blockbusters came in and messed everything up.
Yeah. The good thing, though, when all the blockbusters and movie galleries and Rogers Videos were closing here, was they would do lots of like buy one, get one free sales just to get all the stock out the door. So I ended up with quite a few free games from buying them out like that.
Yeah, yeah. I know when Blockbuster closed here, I went and hit some of it. It was really kind of hit or miss, but I think because at that point in time the whole thing wasn't going under, so they were still shipping some of the good stuff to other stores.
Right.
But yeah, I found a few odds and ends that were pretty cool there.
The only thing you have to be really careful with there is condition, because some of their discs just get ratched, and they're not worried about where they put their stickers on things and stuff like that. Man,
Yeah, because I like some of those places will put like those things over the top of the disc, like the overlay thing or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Or you get the photocopied manual instead of the original one.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that. But it's funny when I find older games like the old cart stuff.
Hmm.
Lots of it comes from former rentals, and man, I tell you what, they just slap these stickers all over them, and some of them have seen some better days, but
Yep.
you can still clean them up, and they still play great.
Yeah, I love cartridges. They're so indestructible.
Really, yeah, I can't say the same thing for discs. Man, you just scratch those things the wrong way, or the hub starts to crack, and forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad to see. I would be really happy with more local, small mom and pop places. I love those kind of places.
Me too. Yeah, they're the best. So up here, since we have quite long winters, we have a really short season for garage sales. But
Yeah.
while we do have our few months of garage sailing, it's one of the best ways to pick up games. It's just so much fun.
So since you have a shortened season, though, you probably like have these massive amounts of people doing it, right?
Well, we don't have even the best weather during our summer season, so it's kind of hit or miss. Which is why I think pawn shops are so big up here, because it's like the year-long garage sale.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, garage sale season is fairly long here. I mean, I would say it's probably a good 5 months of the year, 6 months, towards if you drag it out. It's kind of hit or miss, but I've found some really cool stuff at garage sales for sure.
Yeah, that's why I like it, because it's hit or miss, but you get to do a couple dozen in a day if you dedicate the day to going garage sailing, and so you'll find something somewhere. Whether it's really worth your while is up for debate, but it's just fun.
I think it's one of those things, if you've got some time to kill and you just kind of want to get out and about, it's a very inexpensive thing to do, and it's fun.
Yeah, and you do it enough times, and you'll get surprised one time, and you'll get just this awesome find. It'll make all the other crappy times where you found nothing just worthwhile.
Yeah, you get like really that sense of success. Even if it's not fantastic things. I know one time I stopped at a garage sale and they had like a couple Game Boy Advance systems and like some games and just everything's like this big bag they'd thrown everything
Yeah.
into.
Those are the best, the big boxes or bags of stuff,
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. And so I just grabbed like the whole bag and I go up to the lady, I'm like, what do you want for the bag? And she's like, $2. Okay, you know, I'm not going to complain. And yeah, it was just chock full of stuff. It's nice when you can hit the spots, and sometimes you can get some fairly decent deals.
Absolutely. My parents are big garage sailors too, so I often get phone calls from them across town asking me if they should pick something up for me, which is nice too.
That would be great. I wish I knew some family members that like to do that. Do you have any particular techniques that you use for garage sailing? I mean, do you just look online, see what's posted, or
Well, we've got a really good garage sale map that mostly everyone up here that has a garage sale puts it in the newspaper. So
yeah?
it gives me a reason to buy a newspaper once a month because it's got this really awesome map in it that's got everything listed. So we just kind of track out a route. We can hit 10 if we go down this road. There'll be a few
Mm-hmm.
more we could hit if we wanted to kill some more time, but we usually just do the route that'll bag us the most sales in the shortest amount of time and just hit a whole bunch really fast.
That's cool. We don't have something where they put it in the paper, but there is a website that I go to. Pardon me, I don't remember the address right off the top of my head. I'll see if I can stick it in the show notes. But it's basically a kind of a mapping tool, and what it will do is you put in your area, and it will compile Craigslist garage sale postings, and it'll turn it into a map, and it can do kind of what you're talking about. It'll plot you a course
Right.
where you can hit things, and you print your map out, and then you can put in keywords so you just don't get everything. So like I'll put in my gaming keywords, video games, NES, Sega, that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and you'll only get those. So it's pretty cool. It's a nice little website. Again, I apologize for not knowing that offhand. I'll put that in the show notes. All right, so tell me, when you go into garage sales, do you have some bargaining techniques that you like to use?
My favorite is to have different amounts of currency in different pockets.
Yeah, that's my favorite too.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
best. Oh man, I've only got $5 left. Would you take that? And
Yeah.
I've got 50 in my other pocket though.
I do that. I'll have like my serious cash pocket and then my I want to play poor pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'll usually do is like, oh gosh, maybe I should feel bad, but I don't. Like if I see stuff, they're like, oh yeah, this is, these are $2 a piece or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you ever do where you're like, okay, well, if you add them up in your head, you're like, okay, well, this would be like, $14, and then you do the little paper shuffle in your pocket so you can just pull the 10 out.
Yep. Yep. You have to be very aware of where your bills are and what they are.
Yeah, but if you know and you got a little system, you can do a quick little shuffle and know, okay, I'm just going to slide the 10 into my pocket,
Hmm.
and then you just do oh, well, I only got 10. Well, yeah, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Works great, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or you just like count it out slowly. Sometimes they'll be, oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, or I'll try to bundle. Like, you do the bundle thing.
Yeah. If I take all of them, will you take, half as much or whatever?
Absolutely. And half the time seems like they're happier about that.
Yeah, they just want to get rid of things. I know when I've hosted garage sales at my house,
Uh-huh.
I just want things. I don't care. I know I could get $5 if I wait all day. Take it for a quarter. Just get it out of here.
I'm about the same way when I run them.
Yeah.
So,
The point when I have one is to get things out of my house. I don't want to carry them back in at the end of the day, even if I could make $2 more.
yeah, unless it's like every once in a while you have the big heavy hitter thing that you're bringing out to the garage sale, but
Yeah, we'll
not
we'll
very
have a
often.
couple things that are like that, but for the most part, just get rid of it.
Yep, same thing. So, man, you gotta just bargain, bargain, bargain. And if you're gonna do garage sale hunting, bring your own bags, people. Bring bags. I hear people like, do you hear the story sometimes where people are like, well, I was looking and I was kind of flipping through one thing and then somebody else came and grabbed the thing and then
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't get it.
I don't bring a bag, but I make sure to carry it around with me, like hold it like I'm stealing it.
Yeah, or if you think a bag is creepy, bring an open-ended box.
Stick it in your fanny pack.
I don't care if I look stupid when I'm at a garage sale. You know what I mean? So I'll just come out and I'll just right off the bat I'll say, hey, I've got this bag or whatever. Do you care if as I go, just put this stuff in here? And then they don't care as long as you tell them.
Yeah.
And then even if you're even remotely interested in something, put it in the thing.
You can always put it
Then
back
sort it
after.
out. Yeah. Don't do that. Well, I'll come back to that in a minute because, yeah, then some other jerk's going to come by and grab it.
Yeah. Jerk, yeah.
Well, if it's you not getting it, it's a jerk.
Always, yeah. He eyes you down, and then you show up in the next garage sale. It's the same guy staring at you. I love that.
When you're the one that does it to him, then you're the good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like. And do you ever do that? Do you run into other people you know that are scoping out the garage sales for the same things you are?
Not for gaming stuff, but for other stuff, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of run into that, and you're like, and especially like if you're in a neighborhood sale, you're like, oh crap, I gotta like try to beat this guy some way.
Yeah.
Now, are you pretty good about the when the sale starts, you go at that time, or do you try to like show up as they're setting up to hopefully get in there before somebody else does?
No, I don't like doing the early bird thing. I understand why people do it. We had people do it to our garage sales, and they make away with good deals. But I just feel like a jerk doing that, so I wait till they're ready.
Yeah, I usually won't do it unless I see something like sometimes people will post like what they're going to have in their yard sale, and sometimes it's like, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
So I will show up early. Or I'll even do you ever do this sometimes with the post? Do you if you see something you're like, whoa, hey, what? Do you contact them and say, hey, look, what do you got? Can I come by and look at it early?
I usually don't buy the newspaper until the day of, so I don't have time to do that most of the time.
Well, we're going to talk more about like Craigslist and the ilk like that,
Yeah.
but a lot of people around here they'll post on like Craigslist. So,
We don't get a lot of Craigslist postings for garage sales up here. There's only maybe 4 or 5 a month.
well, it sounds like your paper has a pretty good system.
Yeah, it works out well. They charge you an arm and a leg for it, though. I wish people would do it on Craigslist.
Yeah, I mean, if you put things on Craigslist, that little website that I mentioned is great. It just kind of builds it for you. Well, very good. All right, garage sales, great places.
Absolutely. Tons of fun.
And then we kind of have the organized style of garage sales that go on all year round, right?
Talking about the flea markets or the swap meets.
Absolutely.
Again, something we do not have up here.
Not there's no flea market at all.
It's one place that calls itself a flea market, but it's more of a farmer's market. They sell like baked goods and homemade products. And that's about it.
Oh. Yeah, we've got several flea markets that I like to hit. You know, it's like anything. It's like hit or miss.
It's
You know, it's like
it's almost as fun as a garage sale, I'd say. I like them.
yeah, they're like kind of like big organized garage sales.
Yeah. Except for once in a while, you've got people that actually buy the table every weekend, so they kind of have a store set up there. They're not really a garage sale. They're more aware of what their products are.
Yeah, there's one flea market in my area, and that's the way they are is these booths, and it's usually the same people that rent the booths out, so it's really like little shops.
Yeah.
I don't like to go there because I know what I'm getting.
Right. Yeah, when we were down in Florida, I went to probably 5 different flea markets while we were there. And yeah, some of them are obviously just stores. They weren't what I'd expect in a flea market.
Yeah, and sometimes I like this those open like outdoor flea markets where it's just some crazy mix of stuff piled, you know?
Yeah, those are the best. Just digging through everyone's crap until you find that gem in there somewhere.
Yeah, because the good stuff is going to be under the 6 layers of crap.
Yeah, the smelly clothes that no one wants to touch or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You know, to get ahead in this life, you always have to be willing to do the things that other people don't want to do. That's the way life works. Yeah, those are great. And then, you know, sometimes you're just like, all right, well, now I smell like cigarettes and I didn't get anything, but
Oh yeah, some of the smells. Oh, there's one pawn shop in town my wife doesn't go into with me, and she doesn't
yeah.
like to be near me within 10 minutes of me going in there. It just reeks.
Is it smoke?
No, it's just I don't think they've cleaned it in 10 years. They get something new, it goes on the pile.
Oh, wow. They don't
Yeah.
even take time to do anything to it.
No, it's gross. As I'm sure if you dig around, like if you need new stereo or something, I'm sure there's something really cool near the bottom.
But those are probably get good deals there when you find something, though, don't you?
That's the guy that's kind of hit or miss with the pricing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Usually I find the people that don't take the time to mess with any of their stuff really don't care about much anything else either.
No, this guy's pretty greedy. He likes to
Oh.
get as much as he can for what he has.
Probably doesn't sell very much then, does he?
He's been in business for a long time.
I don't know. Maybe he's got the right customers.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I think we've mentioned it before, but I always get a kick out of watching the Big Game Hunter show that
Yeah.
Mike Kennedy does. It's where he goes to these big California swap meets. Cool stuff.
Yeah, those are awesome. I would be so bad at that. He'd be too giddy with some of those pickups he's got.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's what. If I ever travel to California, I will try to hit him up and be like, "Hey, look, dude, you've got to take me to these swaps." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They look just sometimes like too good to be true. It just you when you're looking like I would love to go to a place where it's like, wow, there's just piles of cartridges here.
Yeah.
Dig through them.
See, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or just maybe it's Southern Canadian has more flea markets maybe, but there's just not a lot of them in any of the cities I've been to.
Do you think it has to do with climate?
It might be because like the only big one that's in Edmonton that I knew of was it's all indoor and temperature controlled and it's all stores again. Yeah.
Yeah. That's usually the indoor ones are yeah, those like permanent rental booth kind of things.
Yeah.
Anything else on flea markets?
No, like I said, I've only been to a handful, so I'm not overly experienced in them, but I have a good time digging through them. Even the ones with the stores, you get the game stores. They'll have a lot of stock. They'll have a little pricier than I want to pay for most games, but you can find a gem if you really search through there.
All right, so one of the other, obviously stalwarts of picking things up locally is Craigslist, and I understand that there's kind of a something like that in Canada also.
Yeah, well, we use Craigslist too. It's just Craigslist.ca up here. But Kijiji, I think it's more popular, at least in my area, than Craigslist is.
Yeah, and I had never heard of Kijiji before. Is that
Really?
strictly Canadian, or does everybody else use that?
It's a subsidiary of eBay, so I thought everyone knew about it.
Huh? No, I really wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah, no, it's the exact same thing you'd expect from Craigslist, but it just seems to be more popular up here than Craigslist. So that's the one. I check them both every day, but that's the one I've got 80 to 90% of my stuff from.
Yeah. Now, what do you typically tend to see on your end with those kind of ads?
Most of them, are the same. I've got an Xbox I just bought. I need some money quick, so I'm selling it for $20 cheaper, and you buy it in the store.
Yeah, I see a lot of those too, and it's like I wish there was some magic way I could filter them out.
Yeah, lately on Craigslist, there's been just one guy spamming all his iPhones and stuff on them. It's just annoying.
I know locally, it seems like every other ad is some Xbox 360 stuff.
Yeah, there's dry spells up here where I don't see anything worthwhile for 2 months, but I've got some really awesome stuff off Craigslist, and I really like selling on Craigslist too.
I don't have tons of luck selling on Craigslist. I've sort of kind of given it up locally because I've just found so much more success online.
Right.
But getting deals, now that's a different story.
Probably has something to do with our lack of flea markets and retro shops up here.
Hmm.
But I have a lot of ease selling things, especially systems and common games on my Craigslist and Kijiji up here.
I'm always on the lookout for lots,
Hmm.
because usually when you can buy a large lot, you can get a pretty decent price on it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you can get a steal from people. A lot of times some of that will go into the collection, and a lot of us, will go into sale or trade fodder, but
Yep.
that's what keeps the hobby rolling.
Absolutely.
You know, I've had a lot of success in doing sales just through the forum, so I know we talked about that last time, but I'm glad to hear that Craigslist and that sort of stuff works really well where you're at.
Yeah, it saves me. Like, I love selling on the forums too, but I don't particularly enjoy standing in line at the post office. So this saves
Hmm.
me the stand in line at the post office. I'll go sit in my car in a parking lot instead.
In your area, is there a lot of people really checking? I mean, is there a lot of traffic on that?
Sometimes it's slow, but I've never had something that didn't sell. So, like, I don't think people check it daily often here,
Hmm.
but I'll get requests for things I posted like 2 weeks to a month after, asking if they're still around.
Wow.
And sometimes they are still around, and then I move them then.
Yeah, see, like around here, there's a lot of traffic, and almost to the point where it's kind of detrimental. You can get pushed off of something.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like when we go to Edmonton to visit some relatives, I'll check the Craigslist there, and there's their one day is I have to go to multiple pages to read what's listed on there.
Yeah,
Whereas up here, we're lucky to get 2 ads a day.
yeah, it makes it a little tougher. But I mean, like I said before, I have had really wonderful experiences buying from Craigslist and really great deals.
Hmm.
Like that one gentleman that I mentioned before that had just the big stashes of stuff. Met him through Craigslist. I got my box, like brand new 3DS
Yeah.
off there. I mean, it takes some diligence, but good stuff.
And I know people kind of hazed me on the forums for a little bit, but I actually invited people into my home before that just showed up on Craigslist to pick up something.
Yeah, Canada must be a really a friendly place.
We'd start chatting games at my door, and I would say, "Come downstairs, come look." A couple of them I'm actually friends with. We just got together today, and I invited him in like a year and a half ago from Craigslist.
So you're gonna start bringing these just random strangers down and go like, "Hey, come and take a look at my stadium events."
Absolutely.
When we hit the podcast episode about Krabby being robbed, you can just remember.
Or if no one hears about me on the forums, I don't post for more than a week. I might just be dead in my basement.
Oh, let's hope that doesn't happen. I would recommend not inviting random strangers into your home.
They're not random. They're video game lovers. They
Um,
and everybody knows video games don't cause violence or aggressions. I'm safe, right?
I don't think video games cause violence or aggression, but people that want to steal things cause violence and aggression. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird about that, but I wouldn't just let any old Joe in.
It's not any old Joe. Like I think I'm a decent judge of character, but I've always said to myself, the day that my collection interferes with my social life or makes me afraid to invite people into my house, then that's the time I need to downscale anyway.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there, but there's no time when I pretty much would want to invite random people into my house, period. So I think that's okay. I'll never see somebody and go, "Hey, what you doing? Oh, want to come in?"
Try and be friendly.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll be friendly in like the Walmart parking lot where I meet them. You actually have people come to your house
A
when
couple
they do
times, yeah.
Craigslist deals,
Yeah.
and that doesn't bother you?
No.
Yeah, I do not do that.
I do most of my deals in parking lots, but I've done a few of them here.
I will not go to somebody's house,
No,
and
no.
I
I
will
go to
not let
people's
someone
house
come to my
almost every
house.
time. I would say people
Really?
do not mind me coming by to pick things up, and even at weird hours too. I've gone at like midnight to go pick up things.
Don't get me wrong, I've gone to people's houses and whatnot,
Hmm.
but I actually know someone uh, that got scammed. They went to a place and got the crud beat out of them and their money stolen.
Wow.
You got to be kind of careful about
Yeah,
that.
I'm not advocating everyone to do what I'm doing, but just saying it's worked for me so far, and I'm sure I
Yeah,
will have a horror story in the future to tell.
sure. And that's something else that I'd be interested in. In the show thread, go and post how, kind of how you deal with Craigslist. I'm curious if there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, I go to people's houses, or if most people are like me that just like want, public meeting places.
So there's another one that doesn't seem to apply down south as much, but there's this buy sell trade magazine that comes out up here. Like I think they put one out every week, might be bi-weekly. But anyway, people put anything they want to sell in there: their house, their vehicle, old video games, guitars, amps, anything. They put them in here, and they're really popular. And they run year round. And people, it's quite a small fee. You pay a couple bucks, you get to print your ad. You get 60 words or something to put your spiel and your phone number in there. My dad buys them all the time because he's looking for like boat parts and things like that. So I always grab his and scan them for video games. But there's been things like arcade cabinets in there, and there's always lots of old N64 games and PS1 games and stuff like that kicking around it. And to a lesser extent, people do the same thing in the newspapers up here quite often too.
So the 21st century just hasn't caught up yet.
No, it really hasn't. Like I say, Craigslist is really slow up here. There's no retro game stores. People love their pawn shops. So we're still in print ads. Yeah, it's slow.
Yeah, because I mean that's strange. I mean, with Craigslist being abundant and free, it's kind of strange that people were still kind of using this medium where you're at.
They're very popular at any gas station, grocery store, wherever you're going like that. They'll have a whole rack of these books right beside the register.
So why do you think that is still prevalent in your area?
We call ourselves a city, but it's very rural here. People are very behind the times in a lot of different ways. I think we just haven't moved off the print yet. I'm sure it'll
Huh.
happen in the next 10 years, but as of now, it's still quite a popular way to move things. And like I said, in the spring, when people are poor because they haven't been paid for a couple weeks, if you
Hmm.
ever need a Skidoo or an ATV or something for cheap, those are the places to get them, is those buy-sell trade magazines.
So that sounds like, I mean, can you give me an example, some deals you've gotten from that?
I can give you a couple that I missed out on that I'm kicking myself for.
Really?
Yeah, there was like a Street Fighter 2 arcade cabinet in there for $50. I
Oh,
called them the day it came out and just missed it apparently. I picked up a bunch of PlayStation games, most stuff like Final Fantasy 7 and Crash Bandicoot, like popular games, but always really cheap, so I can flip them for games that I actually want.
wonderful.
Yeah, usually just lots, like good starter lots. If you're starting from scratch, you'll find a console with 10 games, most of them really decent for $20.
So have you ever thought about doing the reverse and placing an ad that you are looking to buy lots?
Some people do those in these books, but I don't think they're as popular as the buying ones. But I do post ads like that on Craigslist and Kijiji from time to time, and I've had some luck with those.
So some success there.
Yeah, as long as you seems people don't answer you if you don't put a price in. So if you put in like I want to buy your NES carts and then don't leave that price spot blank, put in like $100, even though there's very few games you'd pay that for. People will get back to you, and then you can at least start talking to them about the games they've got.
I see. So is their opening message to you though? I've got a couple. I'd like $100.
No, they never talk about price ever right off the bat. They just tell me what they've got.
Huh, interesting. I have to try that tactic because I don't put anything in that
Yeah.
dollar area.
No, put the big money in there. That at least attracts responses so that you can start a dialogue.
All right, I will. I will have to check that out. That's very good. So definitely where the online and offline worlds collide is there. So interesting that Craigslist, but also those print ads still they're out there, right?
Yep. Yeah, if you live in a small town, I'd check them out and see if they're still relevant to you.
Cool. I'd be curious to see if anybody else posts that they kind of still use paper ads. I think, we've got a newspaper around here. I don't know anybody that's probably under the age of 50 that actually reads it.
I used to live a little further north, and I know that it was quite relevant up there too. So maybe it's just further up you go.
Maybe. And I'm sure private too is just the kind of community that you're in.
Absolutely.
So what's some other ways that you can find some good stuff locally?
Well, since we mentioned it in the last show, I think it deserves another mention here. But have you ever jumped in the dumpster to find anything?
Not been that brave yet. Besides, I will say one time there was a PC that was sitting by a dumpster, and I brought it in and kind of got it up and running again for free. But no, I've not really done anything. But I hear like really fantastic stories.
I don't have any fantastic stories, but I have pulled a few jewel cases out of the trash can.
Have you really?
Yeah.
My thing is how do you see it? I mean, garbage is in bags.
Well, I had an insider source, which was me. I used to work at Rogers Video,
Uh
so whenever
huh.
we did inventory, there'd be all these extra game cases we'd have no use for anymore. So
Yeah.
they'd throw them in the dumpster, so I'd make sure to just load them in my car on the way home that night.
Could you not have just gone to your boss and say, "Hey, can I have these?"
No, we weren't allowed to.
That's a big
Yeah,
that's a big no-no.
yeah.
But you could all put them in the same trash bag and put it right by the
Yeah, exactly.
trash.
Make sure it was nice and clean, easy to get after work, and yeah.
That's funny. I've never done that, but I hear more and more about the GameStop dumpster diving, and
Yeah, if you want Club Nintendo codes, that would be the place to rake them up.
but I do know the guy who runs it, so maybe I just
Just ask him what day garbage day is and go the day before.
have to chat him up. I think is the way it's gonna have to turn out because I really wants me a Game and Watch ball.
Just invest in a black ski mask.
Well, I don't think is it if it's in the garbage, that's not really stealing, is it?
You just don't want them to know who you are, right?
I don't know. I mean,
I guess you're not afraid to yell at people for stickers or walk around garage sales with your little shopping carts. So you probably wouldn't care.
yeah, I guess I'm like the angry old man,
Yeah.
right? So, but I know the guy, so if I said, hey, just I've gone in there before, and he's just I've like, hey, do you have any extra like DS cases or anything? He's like, yeah, I can bring me a big stack.
Yeah, I've had a guy too. I ask him, I don't know if this Club Nintendo code is going to work. Do you mind if I take another one just in case? And he says, yeah, and sometimes both of them work.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
How about this? And okay, now I'm going to go on a tangent for just a second, and we're gonna deal with a morality question. All right.
I'm listening.
So I know a person. I won't say who that person is. It's not me, though. I'm not just making this up. Story is really not about me. So this person rented a shooter that he liked, and so right there you can tell it's not me. It had one of those like online codes that you have to put in, or you can't play the multiplayer online.
Right.
So he goes to the video rental store and opens one of the cases up, snaps a pic with his phone of the code, and then like goes home and puts the code in so he can play the multiplayer without paying. What do you think about that?
I think from a rental place, I don't really have an issue with it because I know they don't use it. Like I said, I worked at managing a rental store for a couple of years, and any codes we still had in them were still fresh when we got rid of them, and the person's buying them used at that point, so they're not expecting them. I don't have a big issue with that.
All right, so let me take it one step farther. What if you go into a used game store and do that?
Same thing. There's probably a gray area there because I'm sure someone could make a case that well, you can obviously make a case there's a moral issue there, but at the same time, people are buying the games used, so you've got that expectation that it might not be there at all times.
So if you were to go into a used game shop and you wanted Club Nintendo codes, you'd be okay with popping cases open, snapping some pics of some codes,
It's
and
not something that I would do unless I talk to the store owner first. For example, there's a multiplayer gaming place in town.
hmm
My son and me went last week and we were playing the Kirby Return to Dreamland.
yeah,
He gives you the case to take over to the Wii, and I open it up and I noticed the Club Nintendo code in there.
yeah.
He was nowhere near us. I could have written it down at any time, but instead I just asked him on the way out, do you guys use these codes? Do you mind if I take it? He said, not at all. What are they for? He didn't even know, so he let me just take the code out of the game.
But obviously, then, if we're having this conversation, there is a moral piece there because you said I wouldn't do that.
Sure, yeah, but I don't have a problem with other people doing it because I know if I go in and say the guy took his picture of a game I was going to come in and buy 10 minutes later, I would have no idea. I would just assume someone who played the game way far back took it. It really doesn't matter to me how the code was lost. If I really wanted that code, I could buy the game new, right? Or pay the $10 or whatever the code costs.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say this as I want to judge other people. I mean, morality is, subjective. But for yourself, that's not something you would choose.
No, I think there's more honest ways to go about it. Talking to the store owners, for example.
Yeah, I mean, to this friend, when he asked me, because he kind of asked me that same kind of question, like, what do you think about that? And I said, I wouldn't do it. And I kind of left it at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like I said, I've got no problem with it, but at the same time, it's not something I would support either.
If any of you listeners want to tell on yourself, um, forum names, we don't know who you are. I'd be curious to hear if anybody engages in a little espionage in the used game places.
Absolutely. I know I got accused of that one time on Rocket Boy. I was asking anyone if they knew how to flex or find out what the code was on my Club Nintendo points code. My Wii points code was without opening the case, just because I wanted to leave it on my shelf, looking nice in the game room.
Yeah.
And they were all like, "Why the hell would you want to do that? You're just trying to go to the store and steal codes." And I'm like, "No, I've got the code at my house here. I'm not going to use it really, so I'll let my wife have the points and I'll just keep the card up there. I haven't opened the card, it's still sitting there.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've got games that are sealed that I won't open, so I guess I just have to sacrifice those points.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Kind of bummed the 3DS that I bought doesn't have somebody's taken the serial number off of it,
Oh no.
so I couldn't register
That's a
it.
good chunk of points too, aren't they? Like 150?
Something like that. I'm kind of tempted to call Nintendo and ask them if there's some way to find out that via software or something. Because I would imagine the software inside of it probably has that somewhere.
Right.
So I'd be curious to know what that is. I don't know why somebody peeled off the sticker, but I can tell that it must be pretty easy to get off because of where it's placed.
Right. All right, so the last place I can think of locally right now is just word of mouth. Like friends, family, coworkers, all if they know you're a gamer, they hear about something someone has for sale, they always let you know about it. Do you experience that too?
Oh yeah, I make sure to let kind of about anybody that will, I think would be helpful. No, yeah, this of what I do at work. We have like a electronic bulletin board where you can post things, and I always post, "Hey, if you got this sort of stuff, I'm interested." And
That's a neat idea.
um, yeah, I have all sorts of stuff that's come my way that way. And a lot of times, like at work and stuff, the people will just they'll just say, "You want this?" And they'll just go, "Hey, oh, here, take it."
Yeah, I actually had my boss do that to me. He gave me a GameCube and a bunch of accessories and stuff. Just wanted to get him out of his house.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got my copy of Ninja Gaiden trilogy.
Nice.
Lady at work, just hey.
Speaking of friends and family, yeah, that's how I got my copy of Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. My old neighbors, they sold off everything and forgot to sell that game with it. And they knew
Hmm.
I used to play it when I go over, so they just sent it my way.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Again, so much of this hobby, if you want to do well and not pay through the nose, is it's just relationships with people.
Yep, absolutely.
So I also do a little IT this is and that. So sometimes I will trade. I kind of like will work for food. I will
Yeah, I've
I will fix computers for games.
done the same thing. I don't have that many serviceable skills, though, but when I get the chance, I do the same. Yeah.
That is some of the ways that we kind of shop locally or look for our things. So as you guys are listening, just feel free to chime in. Let us know in the comments kind of what works for you, or did we miss something? Is there something we just didn't get? Love hearing that, and I know sometimes it's you don't want to share your secrets, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the RF Generation Collector Cast. I'm really glad that you've taken the time to do so. Again, you can find us in a couple different places. One is rfgeneration.com. You can also find the show on the iTunes podcast directory on podomatic.com. You can search, or it's just podomatic.com/RF Generation Collector Cast. You can find us on YouTube. You can search for Collectorcast, or you can go to my channel. My username on YouTube is duke.togo 74, and links to all of this and show notes will be available on rfgeneration.com. Please subscribe and rate us. We're always glad to hear about what you think about the show. If you have any other show topics or ideas, be sure to put that in there. We do welcome donations, so if you'd like to contribute to the show financially to keep things going, we certainly appreciate that very much. And you can do that via our PayPal donate button, which is located on our Podomatic page.
We hope to hear from you about this show, and looking forward to putting the next one up for you. Keep listening. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, guys.